Hey friends, and welcome to today's class. For today, there are no props required, so whenever you have your space to practice in, we're going to go ahead and meet in a kneeling position on our shins. And when coming into this space, feel free to grab a block, slip that underneath your seat if that's more comfortable, if that gives you the support you need to kind of get yourself started and arrive onto your mat. Otherwise, feel free to find a seat right on top of your heels, maybe give yourself a little bit more space and let the hips rest onto the mat. And then slowly start to close the eyes. Tune into the breath. Bringing that breath into all four corners of the ribs, into the sides of the ribs, front and back. Just trying to find a little bit more depth into those inhales. And then exhale, clearing all that space out. Hands resting into one another, or just resting on your thighs. Whatever comes naturally, don't overthink it. And just take 4 more breaths, nice and slow. Giving yourself the opportunity to maybe set an intention for today's class, if that's something you like to do when you come onto your mat to practice. Just taking these last few moments to scan the body, see where you're at as you show up for class today. And then on your last breath here, let's go ahead and bring your hands toward heart center. If you set an intention for today's class, you seal that here as you bring hands to heart center. And then go ahead and blink the eyes open. Go ahead and start to reach the right fingertips behind the right toes. And then sweep that left arm across the front of your body as you reach it up and overhead, pressing the hips forward as you drive down through the shins, through the tops of the feet. Opening up, reaching long. Exhale, hips settle down towards the hips, reaching those left fingertips behind the left toes as the right arm sweeps in front, reaches up and overhead. Expand through the hips, lift through the belly, through the chest. And then exhale, lower down, one more round each side. Right fingertips reach, left arm sweeps up. Really open, expand through the torso, through the upper body. Get the arms involved to help create a little bit more space. Over toward the left-hand side, open up. Really engage the back of the hips too. Press those hips forward. Exhale, lower down. Come back through center, hands come to heart center. Deep inhale. And exhale. On your next inhale, go ahead and drive down through the tops of the feet, through the shins. Arms sweep down towards the hips as they come up and overhead. And then exhale, sit down towards the heels. Inhale, drive down, press up. Inhale, arms up overhead. Maybe finding a little bit more of a back bend as we go through 2 more rounds. Exhale, sit down. Hips to heels. Inhale, make it big. Feel a little bit more energy with each lift. Exhale, lower down. Last one, inhale, drive up. Maybe make this a bigger back bend here. Reach those arms up and overhead. Exhale, pull it all in. Back toward hips to heels. Bring your hands out in front of you, tuck the toes. And then just roll over the toes, drop the heels, nice and slow, unravel yourself up towards standing position. Just making your way upright. Feel free to shift your weight front to back, side to side. Deep inhale, arms reach up overhead. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Deep inhale, arms reach up. And then as the arms come up and overhead, lace the fingers, release the pointer finger. So you're kind of reaching those pointer fingers up towards the sky. And then with that reach, tuck that tailbone down. So we're stacked all on top of one another, shoulders over hips, hips over ankles. And then nice and slow, reach over towards the right. Staying lifted and supported through the belly. One more inhale. Reach long. Exhale, settle in a little bit deeper. Strong legs, strong belly. Inhale through center. Reach tall, reach nice and long through the body. And then exhale, tilt over towards the left. Staying nice and long throughout the spine. Inhale, you reach long. Exhale, you settle in. Inhale, engage as you lift up. And then exhale, settle into center. One more round. Inhale, reach and bend over towards the right. Opening up through the left rib cage. Send that inhale into that space. As you expand and lengthen, and then exhale, settle into that opening. Inhale, reach up. Nice and long, and keep that length as you come over towards the left side. Maybe a slight bump of the hip, the hips over toward the right side. Reaching those fingertips nice and long. Inhale up through center. And then exhale, take the hands through heart center as you hinge the hips, find a forward fold. Opening through the back line of the body, back line of the legs. Letting the head hang heavy, the spine traction nice and long. One more breath here in this fold. Keep reaching the crown of the head towards the floor as the hips lift up toward the sky. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Fingertips can be on the ground, hands on the shins, whatever feels good for you. Just find a nice long spine here, lengthening through the side of the waist. So you're pulling those hip creases back in space as you draw the chest, the heart forward. And then exhale, find your fold. Inhale, round and ripple up to standing. As those hips stack over the knees, you sweep the arms up and overhead. You reach nice and tall. Exhale, hands come to heart center. On your next inhale, big sweep of the arms up and overhead. Reach long and tall. Maybe opening up through the front body a little bit more if you're comfortable with it. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, draw the hands through heart center as you find your fold once more. Keeping the lift through the back of the hips, the draw down through the chest to the head. Inhale, find your lift as you pull the chest and heart forward. And then exhale, find your fold once more. Inhale, deep bend in the knees as you round yourself back up to standing. Arms sweep up as you come toward that standing space. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. And if you started in the back of your mat, make your way towards the front of your mat so you have all of that real estate back behind you. And just find a breath or two. Hands at heart center, feel the earth beneath you. Nice and strong through the inner arch, engage through the legs. On your inhale, you're going to sweep those arms up and overhead. And then on the exhale, those arms sweep down by your side, sit into your chair pose with airplane arms. Arms reach back behind you, so spine is long, belly's lifted, fingertips reaching with all that energy toward the back edge of the mat. Press to stand, inhale, those arms sweep up overhead. Strong through the legs, you don't need to find a back bend here. And then exhale, sink into the hips, into the knees as the arms sweep down alongside the body. Feeling a little bit more energy into the lower body, into the legs, but still long and intentional and supportive within the spine. Press through the soles of the feet, inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, sit low. Feel free to make these breaths a little bit more energetic. They don't have to be quiet. You're in your own space. Do what feels good. Inhale, press to stand. And then exhale, sit low, arms sweep back. Spine's nice and long. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, last time, settle into that chair pose with airplane arms. So you're opening through the chest, you're drawing those shoulder blades down as you reach those fingertips back behind you. And then shift your weight into that right leg. Left leg reaches back behind you. Find your balance. Inhale, crescent lunge. Drop the back knee nice and slow. And then really settle into the hips. Let that front knee bend nice and deeply. Let the hips kind of sink and hammock here, as long as you are staying nice and integrated within the core, so you're supporting the spine. And back toes can be tucked or untucked as you slowly start to send the hips back behind you, coming into half splits pose. Can you make that happen without the use of your arms as they sweep back behind you? Still reaching the chest forward, drawing down through that right heel, so we're energetic through the legs. Inhale, sweep up. Low lunge. Exhale, send the hips back. Challenge your balance as those arms sweep down and back behind you, back into those airplane arms. Inhale, pull it forward. Low lunge. Feel that opening through the left hip. And as the hips sink low, you're still reaching those fingertips up and overhead. On the exhale, go ahead and bring the hands back to the front of the mat. Frame the front foot, lift the back knee. Shift your weight into that right foot. The left foot comes forward to meet the right. Sink those hips low. Come into chair pose with arms up and overhead. Sink those hips low. Exhale, press to stand. Hands come to heart center. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, sweep them down. Come back into that chair pose with airplane arms. Inhale, press up. Exhale, chair pose, airplane arms. Shift your weight into that left foot, free up the right foot, and then reach those toes back behind you. Challenge your balance. Pause here and crescent lunge as the arms sweep up overhead. Keeping those hips settled nice and low, slowly start to bend deeper into that left knee until the right knee starts to drop. Once that right knee settles down onto the earth, toes can stay tucked or untucked, really letting those hips draw forward, bending deeper into that left knee, lifting through the belly, reaching through the fingertips. And then staying strong and grounded, start to press through, dig into that left heel as you send the hips back in space, come into half splits pose. Take your time, let those arms sweep down. You can use them as you need, but challenge yourself not to. Inhale, draw that heel back underneath you once more as you bend into that left knee, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, press back, half splits. Keeping the sides of the waist nice and long. So you're keeping that length. You're not crunching into your space. You're giving yourself space to flow. Inhale, come back forward into that low lunge. Exhale, hands plant, frame that front foot, lift the back knee, shift your weight into that left foot as the right foot comes forward to meet it. Sink the hips low, chair pose, inhale. Exhale, press to stand. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, sit into that chair pose, airplane arms. Feeling that strength within the lower body. Press to stand, inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, sweep them down. Shift your weight into the right foot. The left foot's freed up. As it reaches back behind you, plant the toes. Pause in that crescent lunge, nice and strong. Tall through the fingertips. Slow drop of that back knee. Feel the opening within the hips, deepen a little bit further. And then exhale, start to send the hips back in space. Right toes lift, arms sweep down alongside the body. Inhale, sweep it up, come forward. And then exhale, send it back. Half splits. Using the energy through those fingertips to help kind of create a little bit of momentum as you switch forward to back. Inhale, come back into that front foot. And then from here, go ahead and kickstand that back leg. So the knee stays right where it is, then the toes come back behind you toward that right side. The right hand comes inside the right foot. Sweep that left arm up and overhead, open up into a modified side angle. Using that connection between the front arm, the front leg, to open up through that right hip. Using that left arm to open up through the left side body. Can you create some space for yourself on both sides of the rib cage, even though the right side's a little bit more closed off? One more breath here. And then use those top fingers to kind of sweep up across the sky as you press through that right foot. Click that right heel behind the toes as the left hand drops. The right arm reaches up and overhead, now opening up through the right side body. Puffing up through that right rib cage, reaching it up towards the sky. Pressing through the left hand to keep the length on the left side. And then sweep the arms out in front of you as you come back toward that front foot. Left toes come back behind you. Lift the back knee. Shift your weight back into that right foot as the left foot comes forward. Inhale, find that chair pose. Settle in. Feeling that strength within the hips, within the thighs. Energetic through the feet. Exhale, press to stand. Hands come to heart center. Hips come forward. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, send those arms back, airplane, arms coming back into that chair pose, sinking low. Challenge yourself here. Inhale, press to stand, arms sweep up. Exhale, lower down. Fingertips reaching back behind you, feeling that engagement along the back body. Nice and strong through that left leg as it takes on the weight and the right foot's freed up. Reach those right toes back behind you. Pausing in your high crescent lunge, strong within that front leg, and then nice and slow, heavier within the hips, deeper within that front knee. Right knee taps the floor. Find your low lunge, reaching through the fingertips. And then exhale, sweep the arms down alongside your body as you push through that front foot, sending your hips back. Pausing for a moment until that left heel digs into the earth. Arms sweep up overhead, open up. And then exhale, send the hips back. Half splits. Energetic through those arms, really draw those shoulders down and away from the ears. Inhale, come forward into that low lunge. And as we pause here in the low lunge, start to kickstand that right leg back behind you so the toes come over toward the left side. Left hand comes inside the left foot. Right arm sweeps up and overhead as you turn the chest, the heart over toward the right side. Using that connection between arm and leg at the front of your mat to open up through that front hip. And then spinning through the torso. Can you open up that little keyhole on the left side just a little bit more? And then lift through that right rib cage. Reach to the fingertips. Sweep that right arm across the sky. As it comes toward the back of the mat, click the left heel behind the toes. Open up through the left side body as you reach those fingertips toward the back of the mat. Keep those hips pressing forward. Lifting up through the left side body. Come back towards the top of the mat. Square everything off. Frame the front foot, lift the back knee. Shift your weight into that front foot so that the right foot meets the left. Inhale, settle into your chair pose, sink low. We've been here before. The body's familiar. What else can we get out of being in this space here once more? And then exhale, press to stand. Hands to heart center. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, big sweep down, make it energetic. Feel the energy from these movements. Inhale, reach to stand. Exhale, sweep it down. Shift your weight into the right foot, the left foot frees up. Reach the left toes back. Inhale, crescent lunge. Drop the back knee down. Feel the opening with that low lunge. Exhale, send the hips back. Inhale, arms reach forward. Exhale, send the hips back. Inhale, arms reach forward. Keep the reach of the fingertips as the left leg kickstands back behind you. Right hand plants, twist the chest over towards the left side of the room, side angle in the modified space with both legs down here. Really using your connections and the reach of your top arm to create space for yourself. Sweep the left arm across the sky, comes to the back of the mat, plant it down. Click that right heel behind the toes. Right arm reaches up and overhead. Feeling the length through the right side of the body. Make your way back toward the top of the mat. Frame the front foot, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Keep that left hand planted. Right arm traces across your collarbones as it reaches towards the sky, finding a lifted, twisted lunge. Drawing that right heel, or that left heel, toward the back of the mat. Really staying strong within the hips here, maybe pulling that right hip back just a little bit more, pulling it underneath you. And then starting to reach that right hand up and overhead, spinning onto the outer blades of both feet, finding a high horizon lunge. Feeling a nice opening through the hips, through the outer hips, staying strong and lifted. Come back to center, square everything off. Shift your weight into that right foot, big step of the left foot forward. Inhale, chair pose. Sink low. Exhale, press to stand, hands come to heart center. Inhale, reach those arms up and overhead, look up, reach up. Exhale, sweep the arms down. Chair pose, airplane arms. Strong within the back body. Press to stand, inhale. Sweep it down, exhale. Shift your weight into the left foot. The right foot frees up and reaches long back behind you. Inhale, crescent lunge, reach tall. Strong within that front leg as you slowly lower the back knee down, keeping the reach of the fingertips, keeping that integrity through the body. And then exhale, arms sweep down as you send the hips back in space, half splits pose. Inhale, pull it forward. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, pull it forward, low lunge. And then start to kickstand the right leg back behind you. Left arm comes down inside that front leg. Right arm sweeps up and overhead. Open through the side body, twisting through the belly. Creating space for yourself. You can always come up onto that front thigh to find a more lifted space as you need. Sweep that right arm toward the back of the mat. Right hand plants. Left arm up and overhead as the left heel clicks behind the toes. Coming into a more fallen gate pose. Really opening up through the left side of the body, anchoring down through the outer edge of that front foot. And then come on forward. Frame the front foot, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Right hand stays planted as you trace the left arm across the collarbones. Find that lifted twist here in your lunge. Reaching the fingertips toward the sky. Gently drawing that left hip back and underneath you. Using that bottom hand to help keep your torso lifted. Strong through the belly, letting those muscles help guide you through this twist. And then nice and slow, start to spin onto the outer blades of both feet as those left fingertips reach toward the back of the mat. Staying lifted within the hips. And then spin back onto the toes, find your center. Shift your weight into the left foot, right foot comes forward to meet the left. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, press to stand. We're going to do one more round. We've been here before, all familiar movements. Go where you need to go to let it feel good, strong, lifted, energetic. On that inhale, reach up towards the sky. Exhale, sit low, chair pose, airplane arms. Inhale, press to stand, reach up. Exhale, chair pose, airplane arms. Shift your weight into that right foot. Free up the left leg as it reaches back behind you. Arms sweep up, crescent lunge. Nice and slow, sink down. Back knees lowered. Those hips hammock, belly lifted. Exhale, send the hips back, arms sweep down. Half splits. Inhale, pull forward. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, pull forward. Kickstand that back leg, right hand plants. Left arm reaches up and overhead. Make it spacious, let it feel good. Going back towards the back of the mat. Drop the left hand, right arm up and overhead. Click that right heel behind the toes. Coming into a fall in gate pose. Strong within the belly, keep the hips forward out in front of you. And nice and slow, come back towards the top of the mat. Frame that front foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Left hand stays planted. Right arm traces across the chest as you spin and twist towards the right side of the room. Drawing those hips underneath you, pulling that right hip underneath. And then keep that twist going. Come onto the outer blades of both feet. Maybe reaching those right fingertips toward the back of the mat. Coming into high horizon lunge. Keep that chest in line with the hips. Tucking that left hip underneath the right. Staying lifted using the outer blades of both feet. Come on back forward. Squaring everything off, shift your weight into that right foot. Left foot comes to meet it. Inhale, find your chair pose. Exhale, press to stand. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, arms sweep down. Airplane arms, find that chair pose, sink even lower. Inhale, press up. Exhale, arms come down. Shift your weight into that left foot, free the right foot up, reach it nice and long back behind you. Right toes plant, inhale, crescent lunge. Fingertips stay reaching, draw that right knee down towards the floor. Feel that opening through the front of that right hip. And then exhale, send it back, half splits, arms sweep down. Inhale, pull it forward, reach it up. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, reach it forward. Kickstand that right leg, left hand plants inside the left leg. Reach that right arm up and overhead. Find that modified side angle. Open up through the front of the chest, the right side body. Strong within the left side to keep it lifted here in this enclosed space. And then come on toward the back of the mat, right hand plants. Left heel clicks back, left arm up and overhead. Find that falling gate pose. Feel the opening through the left side body. Sweep it forward, come towards the top of the mat. Bringing that right foot back to center, lift the back knee, plant that right hand. Left arm sweeps across the chest as it opens toward the sky. Gentle drawing of that left hip underneath you. And then continue to spin onto the outer blades of the feet as the left hand reaches toward the back of the mat. Find that high horizon lunge. If you want to let those hips sink a little bit lower, feel free. Come on back to center. Square everything off. Big step of the right foot forward. Inhale, find your chair pose. Exhale, press to stand. Inhale, the arms sweep up and overhead, open through the front body. And then exhale, hands come through heart center, find your forward fold. Let those hips reach up high towards the sky. Maybe you grab hold of the back of the calves, draw the chest a little bit closer toward the thighs. Releasing any tension through the neck. And just finding this little bit of compression, moving a little bit deeper into it with every breath. Two more breaths here. Go ahead and release the hands. Plant the hands toward the mat. Drop the knees. Come toward the back of the mat. Settle into your child's pose. Finding length through the sides of the body as you reach those fingertips toward the top of the mat. And just find your breath. On your next inhale, slowly start to draw the body through cat pose. And then as the shoulders come over the wrists, send the body back. Cow pose. Maybe come all the way back to child's pose if you'd like. And now on the next inhale, you draw yourself forward, find a cat pose. And once the shoulders come over top the wrists, you send the hips back, you arch the spine, you find cow pose. Hips come back toward heels. And then slowly start to pattern this movement with your breath, finding some nice spinal waves here. Coming into some more natural movement here for yourself. Move into a space that feels good. But with every breath, what I want you to slowly transition into is finding your way, whatever that looks like, from child's pose to maybe an upward facing dog. And then slowly kind of making your way forward and back. Usually, this is something I like to do as a warm-up. But today I wanted to trial it as more of a cool down. Once you find all this space within the hips, the spine, with this nice kind of sweeping motion type class today, getting the upper body involved a little bit more with your movements. And then just coming into your own kind of sense of sweeping motion as you move forward and back on the mat. And then just kind of seeing where your body's at as the class starts to come to an end. On your next breath or so, I want you to find your way back to child's pose. Feeling a nice long spine as you settle your belly between your thighs. You reach the fingertips toward the top of the mat as you send the hips toward the back of the mat. And just settle into your space here. Slowly start to walk the hands toward the knees. Bring the knees toward one another. Hips to heels, stacking the spine. And then go ahead and bring one hand to belly, one hand to heart. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And just feeling the energy of the breath that flows beneath your hands. Maybe coming back to that intention that you set at the beginning of the class. And if you didn't set an intention, maybe just taking a moment of gratitude for yourself for showing up to today's class, showing up onto your mat, showing up for yourself. And whether that gratitude is expressed toward yourself or maybe to others that you've interacted with thus far today. Just taking a moment to acknowledge all the goodness that's around you, within you. And just bringing that good energy that you created during today's flow, taking it from the mat and bringing it into the rest of your day. As always, I appreciate y'all for so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's flow. Feel free to like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, all of the things. And I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Have an awesome rest of your day.